us a lot drive direction on individual currencies and individual countries. Alexis is our fundamental queen, and we will hear from her now. Alexis, what is happening this week in fundamentals?
Right. Thanks, guys. Interesting stuff, Julian, as always. Well, I think my focus this week is on the Chinese yuan. Let me just share a screen over here. So what caught my attention was this article that popped out on the Financial Times, and it says that China's currency was set for its worst months since the U.S. trade war. So there is, a bunch of stuff to read about how China might want to push down its currency because they have had really fantastic growth, and they are having a dilemma on whether or not. Is their growth target over 6%? Was it like weighing down on the currency? So it got me curious about, again, the correlation the renminbi had with the Aussie dollar. So I went to take a look at dollar Aussie, and of course the Aussie dollar as well, to see whether there's any way to prepare for this, whether or not the market will react, and whether or not there will be an opportunity to be taken on individual currencies. So this is a dollar Aussie chart and a dollar renminbi chart. This is on a weekly time frame, and all I was focusing on to look at the highs and the lows, the turnaround points per se. And I think the correlation will be a bit closer if China wasn't, if their monetary policy wasn't as regulated, right? So you can see that the moment China, like all the way, I'm just identifying the turning points of the renminbi. So in let's just start with October, when there was a gradual increase in the dollar yen, which means there was a weakening of the renminbi. The very similar directional, I think directionally very similar for the dollar Aussie as well. And then when the renminbi got slightly stronger over here, the Aussie responded. And then again over here, the renminbi weakened, and then over the last period the renminbi had actually strengthened quite a bit, and that also lent its strength of the Aussie. So this was the post-COVID so-called recovery, where the Australian dollar rode on the recovery of the renminbi, right? So where we are right now is pretty interesting, because what I am looking at is the turning point over here on the Chinese renminbi, all right? So coinciding with the article that again came out in the news, that that there might be something brewing over in China. So of course I am looking for opportunities, I think, for a weaker dollar in response to this. So on the flip side, of course, I'm looking for looking at the Aussie dollar. This is the actual trading pair on your MT4s, and I am looking for the turning points and seeing whether there is any correlation that we can take advantage of. And of course, just part of my blue line is just to make sure my dates were lined up. So you can see the turning points. They are pretty. They have some. There is something there, I think, to explore. And again, there is a significant turning point in the recent weeks of the renminbi, and you can see a very similar turning point of the Australian dollar as well. So I guess I am looking for more weakness in the Aussie next week, and with that, I would like to actually just run through the Aussie pairs to see whether there is any advantages that we can take advantage of. So I'm just going to go on the daily time frame, and I'm going to run through the Aussie pairs. Just as a overview, let me just go to the weekly, just to see where things are at on the weekly time frame. This is Aussie CAD. Okay, might not be as clear on the weekly, but it has come off a significant, I would say, horizontal level. So I guess there's more room to short it. Aussie yen has kind of hit a ceiling over here on the weekly time frame. So there is a probability that Aussie yen might trend upwards to a little bit more, and then probably hit the horizontal level and pop back down. Aussie Kiwi looks a little bit toppish. If we just draw a line across the top over here, I guess you could say it's finding its horizontal level. So it might be a possibility that the Aussie has kind of reached its highs for now, and we could potentially see a turning point because the Aussie will good probability that it might be dragged down by the renminbi, the weakening of the renminbi. So my eyes are on news that's coming out of China, and Aussie Swiss again very similarly. It seems to be reaching at an interesting level as well. Whether or not it will break again. I guess this is the dilemma. So my dilemma over here would be last week I am actually short the Swiss, right? So I will have to relook this again and weigh out whether or not the weight of the renminbi is going to outweigh my weakness of the Swiss, and this is probably my homework for the next week to figure out whether or not the Swiss is weak enough to push the Aussie above the pop, or is the renminbi weak enough to pull the Aussie down? All right. So other than Aussie Swiss, a little bit of dilemma there. I am looking for short Aussies next week with an eye on the news that is coming out from China's currency. And that's all for me, Paul.
Hey, Alexi, fascinating stuff. Let me see if I've got this right. What you're saying is that if the opportunity comes to short the Aussie, you might be able to look at the renminbi for an early sign of when this move might end. So it looks like the renminbi is just leading the Aussie a little bit. So if you jump in, it might follow it down, and you may be able to see the renminbi give you an opportunity to close that trade at some point, or to stay in it if there's a bit more to go.
Yes.
So we may have a better than a connected relationship. We may have a leader and a follower in this as far as the currencies go at this point.
Yep, definitely.
Fascinating stuff, Lexi. Thank you very much.